Lynn Cullen live in 1 minute. Welcome to Lynn Cullen Live at pghcitypaper.com. Email your questions and comments to Lynn at pghcitypaper.com.
Hello there. Welcome to the end of the week. That'd be Friday, July 20th, 2012. And, right, the big news today that we woke up to was the latest mass killing in these United States. And this time at a movie theater at the premiere of The Dark Knight, the first public showing. It was showing all over the place. Our Jess, my producer, was watching in Pittsburgh, so she was having the same experience that those people in Aurora, Colorado, were having when reality struck. I don't know what to say. I never know what to say because at this point, I have some sense that when the president addresses this, as he's apparently going to do in about an hour and 15 minutes, my guess is, I don't know how he doesn't, but my guess is he will not talk about gun control. When this is, it seems like a no-brainer. The man in custody had what did they say? He had an assault rifle. He had handguns. He had a bulletproof vest. He had tear gas. He had he had his own little armory, as so many true red-blooded Americans do. And all of what he had was easily gotten and legally acquired by him, and could be by most Americans. Apparently there are 20 listed in the phone book, 20 gun shops in Aurora. 20. You shouldn't have to walk too far to get your new howitzer. And, of course, there are pawn shops where you can get them, and I don't know if Colorado's laws are as extraordinarily loose as Arizona's next door, but in Arizona, as you know, you can walk into a gun shop, you can buy God knows how many armaments, and then you can walk out into the parking lot and sell them yourself to somebody. Obviously, no background check going on there. From what is known so far, this guy did not have a record, so he would not have had a problem at all getting a gun. And even if you do have a record, there's no problem at all getting a gun. So it is an indication of how much, and I've certainly talked about it in the past, that the debate about gun control in this country has been lost. And I'm assuming if I can say our side lost. And in an election year, for the president to mention in any way gun control would be, I suspect, politically risky. That's my bet why he won't. He hasn't ever said anything about it, as far as I know, since he became president. So why would he say it now? And of course, even though he hasn't said anything about it since becoming president, and I'm saying that as fact, although I'm not totally certain, but it hasn't stopped, of course, the Republicans and the NRA from continuing to terrify their so easily terrified base by saying, look, if he gets back in, he's going to do what we told you he was going to do 3.5 years ago. He's going to take your guns away. Now, it doesn't occur to the crowd that immediately swallows this whole that this is what they were told in the last election cycle. Obama will take your guns away. And that's why they ran out. Gun sales went, through the roof. You couldn't find ammo at stores. They were out. Fear that Obama would take their guns away. So Obama gets elected. Not only doesn't he take their guns away, he doesn't say boo about any of it. So I really, really, really doubt that he'll have anything to say about it today. Although how you respond to this kind of senselessness and not mention the proliferation, the easy availability of the fact that there is next to no gun control in this country at all. How you manage to do that is amazing. But we know how it's done because we've heard so many politicians manage it. It'll instead be about this one man, this one psychopath, sociopath, whatever the hell the proper designation is. And we'll learn all about him, and as if we want to. And he'll just be the latest lunatic. I heard on the way here, apparently, if you look up Wikipedia, it's already on Wikipedia. He's already got his day in the sun. He's already on there. He's in history. That alone, of course, helps create this kind of problem. Because much of this is the desire for that fame, for the feeling of I am somebody. Never mind that they don't get that what they are and what they show themselves to be is pathetic, beyond pathetic. I don't know. And there'll be a lot of talk about the Dark Knight Rises now and the impact on the Dark Knight Rises. And I heard some reporter on, I think, CNN saying, we have been trying to get remarks from Christian Bale and Morgan Freeman. And I'm thinking, what? Jeez. Yeah. Well, we all know the drill. But because this venue of this latest massacre was the rollout of a highly anticipated summer blockbuster, the end of a trilogy, yada, 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 the wondrous movie theme aspect, the fact that we'll see reports and it'll be interspersed with explosions and violence from the movie itself, I can't. I have a hard time watching the media do what the media do. I just have a hard time. There's a masturbatory aspect to it, which is, I don't like watching. So I'm hoping to be proven wrong about my cynical sense of what the president will say. I hope I'm wrong, but I'll be shocked if I I am. Truly. I don't know if I have anything else to say about this. It's weird. I was reading the New York Times review of the Dark Knight Rises when I happened to just pop the TV on just to make sure nothing had happened in the world, and bango, there it was. So, I've got nothing else to say. If somebody has anything that they want to say about this, latest senselessness, again, if I thought that there was a fighting chance to have this be a moment where Americans engaged in any measure of introspection and soul searching, I would speak more, because there'd be a lot more to talk about how we end up getting a handle on our insatiable ardor for weapons of destruction. Caller, hello.
Hi, Lynn.
Hi.
Yes. How you doing?
I'm fine, thank you.
Have you ever seen on television where they advertise for that? It's called Combat Pawn.
Combat what?
And they sell all these guns, and the guys just go crazy over them. I mean, they sell bazookas. I mean, what the hell somebody needs with a bazooka? I never understood. I bet you could buy a tank off them. I'm arm these people with all these guns, and then they'll have better than the police and the military.
Yeah. Well, the police will tell you that they are often outgunned. Often outgunned. The big, the arms race used to be between us and the Russians. Well, the big arms race now, I guess, is between, I don't know, NRA members and the rest of us. What is going on? It's insane. Whoops. You need to turn down your audio. Or not. Okay. Who was the president? Was it Coolidge, whose slogan was "a chicken in every pot"? Oh, how Americans have changed. What a naive, innocent bunch we were when all we wanted and all a president had to promise was a chicken in every pot. And now, I guess, this huge percentage of Americans is desirous of, I don't know, M16, Uzis, weapons of mass destruction in every room in their home, and the ability to use it whenever they want or see fit. It's such a, fucked up way of looking at the world. It obviously breeds paranoia. It's based on paranoia. Caller, hello.
Hello, Lynn. It's Beth from Morgantown. How are you?
I am fine.
I am calling for a couple reasons. One, is someone who worked on The Dark Knight, just feel awful about the tragedy, number one, like everybody else listening. Two, it really bothers me once again that you had the far-right nutcases kind of stirring the pot, and I don't know if I hope it does come out or doesn't come out, that this individual didn't take heed to their call, so to speak.
Do you mean, what you're saying, that this lunatic was buying into the fact that this was the film itself?
Political movie. Because no one really seemed, from mainstream media to whoever, calling the Limbaughs, the Hannitys, the whatever other nutcases. Just the fact that, first of all, it's a screenplay that was written 10 years ago. The character's been around since the 90s. But trying to make this some sort of liberal Hollywood election year bias. And considering just the age of the young man, and, you've heard a lot of the former FBI types already saying, is this a form of domestic terrorism, the associations, etc. And if it does come out, I really hope people start to call these people accountable, the Quinns of the world and whoever else, because that's the one thing that never seems to happen. We blame, and the guns, I agree, they're just, I think, you and Chris are right. Once the liberals start arming, then gun control will really start to happen.
That's true. It is true.
But until that point, I don't know. I really wish somebody would start calling. We've had too many of these tragedies, from Gabby Gifford to the LA Fitness Center in Pittsburgh, and it seems everybody gets, the school shootings. I mean, too, numerous to even count. What do we do?
We don't do anything, Beth, and we don't. And to think that this one will be any different is engaging in magical thinking. Nothing will change. Do you think the president will talk about our love of guns when he speaks?
No, absolutely not.
No.
It's not, and especially in an election year, it's not going to happen. And the fact that you have the disinformation campaigns being put out by the NRA that he's going to take guns and the rise in gun sales and everything else, no, he's not going to address it. It's going to be about the victims and the tragedy that happened.
That's right. As if it all happens in a vacuum, in no context whatsoever. As if in each one of these instances there is no thread that we can start to connect things. No, we speak of each and are only allowed to speak of each as its own, aberration. And the shooter as his own, psychopath. And we never get beyond it. I mean, that's why I'm already feeling weary. I no longer, I heard the news and literally 40 seconds later, I was groaning with, oh God, here we all know the dance. We all get up and we all do the dance. Nothing changes. The only thing that changes is there are more guns and more access. That's all that's changed since all of these mass shootings.
That's exactly it. And
so,
well, you know what? Maybe it is time that all of us liberals go out, do the unthinkable, buy one of the things, and we'll start scaring our NRA friends.
Here's another thing. Maybe buy not just one of the things, buy a bunch of them. And if all of a sudden there's scarcity, maybe the price will go up and some of these yahoos won't be able to afford them. And then, I know, we should have George Soros buy up every gun he can. I don't know.
I love Chris Rock. Do you remember Chris Rock's old routine? He just said, we know we can't get rid of guns, but why don't we make bullets? One bullet costs $1 million.
Yes! It's brilliant.
And just, the guy said, you know what, when I'm a millionaire, I'm going to finally come back and kill you. It was kind of his joke. But, a bad joke to make today, sorry. But
you said Beth, you were at the premiere on Tuesday night here?
I did go. I did. It was great to see the city. There was more of the city, I have to say, intertwined in the film than I really thought there was going to be. Mm-hmm. And it looked great. It was a big kudo to the local crew, especially to really pulled up. I mean, this was definitely one of the largest films, I would say, I think, to film in the state, period. So it really is a kudo to the local crew. Of course, you had all the Steelers there and all the other dignitaries, and but again, it should be a real pride for Pittsburgh, and just sad that now it's tarnished with this tragedy.
Yeah. Hey, always good to hear from you. Thank you.
Thank you, and have a good day. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye-bye. So that is Beth, who does and has for years worked in the film industry here. She did email me after the showing on Tuesday and said there was something sort of ironic going on because where the premiere here was held at the Bachmann Theater, the people that were invited were people that were involved in the filming and or dignitaries and or people who know somebody who had a connection that would get them a seat. And she said, since, a lot of the film is sort of French Revolution stuff in that the rich control everything and it's the bad guy, I guess, who Bain, who lets the prisoners out of the prisons and, foments the rebellion of the rising up of the 99, or although I don't think they use those terms or anything. But it's like the haves and the have-nots, and the rich are targeted. And Beth pointed out that at the premiere here, it was funny because all of the rich, the Steelers and the people of, status, were seated, of course, down in the orchestra section, and all of the workers, the guys who had actually worked on the film, were up in the cheap seats in the balcony. And she said there was something so funny about that reality because of what the movie was saying, is that, the rich always get everything and we get... And that's another reason that the right-wingers have gone after this movie as well, of course, because it appears to be anti-capitalist, which is bullshit. All you have to do is know anything about, history of this particular comic, and that's not what it is. That is the most superficial of readings. Oh, God. Well, as I said, I'm at a loss, and have been for a long time, about what to say, because everything has been said. And this time, I got to tell you, media folks are loving this one. They're loving this one. Because it's not your average, multiple carnage shooting fest in the US of A, because this one has that wonderful Hollywood connection with a blockbuster movie that's just come out. This is too good to be true. Oh, the Paris premiere has been called off by Warner Brothers. Oh, the stars will... there's so many sidebars to this one that really the networks are a Twitter. And Twitter's a Twitter, too. Indeed. Okie doke. Let me get a break out of the way. We'll come back. Have anything you want to say about this? Email me, Lynn at PGH City Paper. Call me at 412-316-3381. Or, I don't know, talk to yourself. It's okay by me. We'll be back.
Email your questions and comments to Lynn at pghcitypaper.com or call Lynn at 412-316-3381. Lynn Cullen Live will return in a moment.
Are you thinking about getting your GED diploma? Well, here at the GED Pep Talk Center, we've got a number of pep talks that can motivate you.
Sometimes things don't always turn out the way you want them to.
You know that feeling? People look at you and don't believe in you.
You want some gentle encouragement.
Then you're on your way to your GED diploma and a better life.
But I know they're probably just a little bit nervous. You can find it in yourself to take that first step.
You can improve your future. You can do this. I know you can.
You need to start pushing yourself.
Now get your game face on and take the first step towards a better life. Hurry up. Don't make me repeat myself.
Whatever level of motivation you need to get your GED diploma, we've got a pep talk that's right for you. Call 1-877-38-YOUR-GED or visit yourged.org for your pep talk and find free GED classes in your area. GED is a registered trademark of the American Council on Education. Brought to you by Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
The end is near!
Voting ends Sunday in Pittsburgh City Paper's annual Best of Pittsburgh Readers Poll. Vote now and register to win a new iPad. Pittsburgh City Paper, available at over 1,700 locations throughout Western Pennsylvania, and on the web at pghcitypaper.com and on your smartphone at citypapermobile.com.
Have a question or an opinion? Call Lynn Cullen at 412-316-3381 or email Lynn at pghcitypaper.com. Now, more with Lynn Cullen Live.
All righty, welcome back. We have a caller, maybe? Hello?
Yes, Lynn. Hey, it's Michael from Palm Springs again.
Hello, Michael. How you doing?
Hello. I just woke up, and I was all excited because I'm going to go to Gotham City today, and now I don't know that I want to.
Well, that's another thing that the media will probably get on. Will this discourage people from going who are going to go?
I'm going, but I'm going to be anxious because I was at a theater a couple of years ago where somebody got stabbed with a meat thermometer because they were talking on a cell phone.
Oh, well, I have ambivalent feelings about that.
Yeah. I mean, it's getting to the point now where you can't go out.
Well, I wouldn't
Well,
worry.
you can, but yet you're going to have to be constantly looking over your shoulder. I didn't want to go last night because I just knew the big, huge, giant crowds and people in bat suits and all that. I just want to see the movie.
Well, I have news for you. Today, the crowds will be there, too. I mean, the crowds don't die off for a week or so. I'm waiting.
Yeah, true. I'm going to a 10 a.m. showing, so hopefully it'll be, a little less crowded, but...
Well, and I actually was thinking, okay, so if movie theaters are going to be the new venue for this kind of thing, are we going to have to go through essentially TSA lines to get into a movie theater? Are you going to have
God, no.
Are you going? Well, I mean, I don't know. So how do you protect against this kind of stuff? And there was pictures in the local paper today of people who went last night, and they're dressed in costume. They've got Batman masks on, and I'm thinking that guy walked in with a mask on, looking like he
belonged there.
Right, and even if he was openly carrying weaponry, people would have figured it was fake.
Right. Well, they do have those things now where they have to put the orange tips on toy guns so that you automatically know that they're toys.
Yeah.
But you can paint those.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
I know. It's totally ridiculous.
And Chris Potter's statement yesterday about, us liberals arming, that's a great little line, but is it ever going to happen?
Well, I don't think so, because liberals are liberals, but I really think it is smart. I do think it's smart. Not only arming, but openly arming and showing up like their Republican counterparts do at Romney rallies. Remember how they showed up?
Yeah, with open carry permits.
And I especially want black Democrats, especially scary-looking big black men.
Oh, they're also scary.
I want them to exercise their Second Amendment right to buy as many
and it is
guns
a right.
as they want. Yes! And many in America think our greatest right. So...
Yeah, well, you know what? A right gives you the right to accept or deny.
Okay, so you go to the dark night, and then you leave and go to your local gun stores. You have such a large... Get yourself.
I'm going to have to look them up. I have no idea where one is, except maybe a pawn shop.
Well, they're on.
But after I go have some Chinese after the movie.
I would imagine Palm Springs does have a gun store or two.
We probably do, although I have no idea where it is. I know where the Peace Center is.
Well, all over Palm Springs is where I first saw the sign in front of somebody's yard. Armed response, it said.
Oh, yes, I know.
Response.
I have a friend who has one of those, lives in a gated community.
Exactly,
that has armed
right.
response.
Yeah, not only do they live behind gates, but then they tell you if you manage to get through the gate that if you walk on their lawn, they'll kill you.
Well, the old adage, are the gates there to keep us out or to keep them in? Where is the prison line?
I was mentioning paranoia a while ago. The paranoia that has been, sold to so many in this country. They're so fearful of everything. And invariably they're fearful of these rich people living in these little enclaves. What are they afraid of? I don't even understand. They don't live in a high crime area.
No. And the thing is, it turns out that there's more crime inside of gated communities than there is outside.
By the residents therein.
Yeah.
Not to mention all the white-collar crime going on.
Well, those don't get reported.
No, indeedy.
Because that's the American way. And what happened in this country? When did we stop with the knowledge that the only thing that we had to fear was fear? And now that's all that we are fed is be afraid, be very afraid.
That's right, because once you make the population scared, you can control them, and that's what Republicans do. And they do it
I'm not scared. I'm just
masterfully.
cautious. I'm paranoid. Safely paranoid.
Okay,
Carry just that 1% of paranoia with me at all times, just to be aware.
Okay. I guess that's okay. I essentially am reckless by nature, but people who are easily...
Oh, I am too. I'm a big mouth, and I say exactly what I think when I want to say it. And a lot of my friends go, "You're going to get yourself killed."
See, but that's what I mean. Everybody is so certain that no matter what they do, they'll be killed. People have become such chicken shits. I can't.
Yeah. Well,
stand
hey,
it.
guess what? I was born. When I was born, I was sentenced to death. So I don't know how long it is before my death sentence is going to come, but I'm going to die.
Yes. Oh, yes, you are.
And I'm not afraid of it. I don't want it.
Yeah.
But I'm not afraid of it.
No, it's sort of inevitable. Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, I hope it's none too soon. Enjoy the movie.
I will, and I'll think of you, and then I'll go have some Chinese and go buy a gun.
Sounds like a great day. Hey, thank you.
All right, love. Speak to you soon.
All righty. Bye-bye. Well, that's the report in from Palm Springs. So we've heard from West Virginia, Palm Springs, and I guess a local. There'll be a lot of gallows humor for the folks standing in line to buy their tickets now at the movie, right? And talking about how tough they are by showing up and that. Jeez. I hate these Republicans. I'm sorry. I hate some of these Republicans. Let me just say this because I want to say something nice about John McCain. I meant to bring this up yesterday. I just have to say this, that the depths to which some on the right are willing to happily find themselves is, well, I mean, we've seen so much of it that it's just that she's been quiet for so long. I forgot all about Michelle Bachmann. But she apparently was unhappy that we had not thought of her for a while, so she has made one of those ridiculous and incendiary comments that get you noticed. And this is sort of the verbal version of going into a movie theater and killing a bunch of people. It's, I want some attention. And so rather than literally kill people, you just engage in character assassination. And that's what Bachmann and 3 of her Republican cohorts in the House are doing. They have said that one of Hillary Clinton's major aides is, they think, affiliated with the Muslim Brotherhood. And, in fact, should be investigated immediately to make sure that she is not serving as a conduit of some sort between the Muslim Brotherhood / terrorists / those out to kill you dead in your bed. And the woman in question is... What's her name? Abedin. Huma Abedin. She is deputy something, deputy chief of staff or something. So McCain, hearing what Bachmann had said, actually went nuts. He went immediately to the floor of the House and flat out condemned them. This is the McCain I used to like, calling them sinister accusations, saying that the attacks have no basis in fact, no logic, and they need to stop now. He went on to say he knows this woman. He has absolute, total confidence in her loyalty to the United States. And that, in fact, all Americans owe her a debt of gratitude for her years of superior service to the country. And I'm grateful that these particular scurrilous and defamatory charges were answered that quickly by a fellow Republican, because all too often these kinds of despicable statements are not answered by Republicans. The charge that there were 83 members of the Communist Party who were in the Congress, did that get, I mean, these are the kinds of unbelievable, although unfortunately they are believable to some, absolute made out of whole cloth lies that a congressperson like a Michelle Bachmann, who was, and let me remind you, seriously considered a frontrunner at one point for the Republican nomination for president. I should point out, too, that Huma, the woman in the center of this latest outrage, is also, you've heard her name before because she is the unfortunate wife of one Representative Weiner, former Representative Weiner, who I recall, what did he do exactly? Sent pictures of his wiener. Well, yeah, his underwear with his wiener in it, right? I don't think it was his actual. It was Favre who actually did his. Whatever. These men, God help us. Anyway, that's his wife, Huma Abedin. And since McCain's, this is considered, I guess, a profile in courage or something, to actually slap down a fellow Republican saying unbelievably ludicrous and outrageous things. John Boehner, amazingly, has also come to her defense, not Bachmann's. He says, from everything that I know of her, she has a sterling character. Accusations like this being thrown around are pretty dangerous. That's from Boehner now. Now, no word on whether or not Bachmann has backed off. But, you know, you have a name like Huma Abedin, and you're born in the wrong country or something, and your skin's a little too dark, and this is the kind of charge that's going to be made. All you got to do is ask a guy named Barack Obama. I believe he was allegedly born in a foreign country. That would be Hawaii, and a lot of people do consider that a foreign country. On top of it, raised in some godforsaken Muslim nation called Indonesia, and then takes up with a bunch of socialists by being a community organizer in Chicago. Yeah, I mean, this is clearly the biography of a dangerous and un-American human being. If, of course, you subscribe to Republican reality. Whoa. Tell you what, let's get a second break in. I will be back in, I think, literally about a minute.
Stick around for more with Lynn Cullen Live after this.
Get Lynn Cullen Live on your smartphone. Go to citypapermobile.com now for Pittsburgh City Paper's brand new mobile app. Get the latest restaurant reviews, event listings, movie times, and of course, Lynn Cullen Live on your smartphone. citypapermobile.com.
Gustavo and Vella wants to thank all of southwestern Pennsylvania, the USA, and the world for helping to liberate his native country of Equatorial Guinea. Equatorial Guinea has suffered 43 years of dictatorship, 43 years of human rights abuses, 43 years of corruption, and 43 years of kleptocracy. Even with $5 billion in oil revenue in 2011, the 700,000 citizens of Equatorial Guinea earn less than $2 per day. A proud Mount Lebanon resident, please help Gustavo and Vella usher in the 21st century by allowing freedom, democracy, and socioeconomic prosperity by the rule of law for the next 43 years and beyond. Email him at presidentandvella@yahoo.com to help free Equatorial Guinea.
Go to BergBargains.com for great deals on tickets to the Science Center, the History Museum, Carnegie Museums, and some of the best restaurants in Pittsburgh. During the month of July, spend $50 on Berg Bargains merchandise and receive a $10 gift certificate to Buca di Beppo. BergBargains.com. Local deals, local merchants. BergBargains.com.
You're listening to Lynn Cullen live at pghcitypaper.com. Once again, here's Lynn Cullen.
Yeah, Jess was just pointing out that, a 6-year-old girl was she one of the injured?
Yeah.
Yeah. But what's a 6-year-old girl doing at a movie at 1 a.m. in that movie? And I did hear that there was a 3-month-old infant that was hospitalized, but has been... What's a 3-month-old doing at a movie? Guys, would it ever have occurred to you to bring a 3-month-old into a theater? I see it every once in a while. And I think, are you out of your mind? First of all, the chance that, that child is going to disrupt the movie is certainly there. And if you can't get a babysitter, then stay home. I'm sorry. Oh, that sounds so harsh, but that's what people used to do. Mm-hmm. Another horrific story in the news is this, although it's an interesting, this horrible story about the father not letting his kid go to Disney World. She had a trip that the Make-A-Wish Foundation had given her, and the father won't let her go because he says she's not sick enough. He said, she's in remission. They should give it to some kid who's, going to die tomorrow or something. And also, just so you know, the father is not married to the mother. The father has never had custody of this child, and yet the Make-A-Wish Foundation requires that both the mother and father sign off on any trip. So he has put the kibosh on it. This is a girl in, I guess, Toledo. So, of course, folks online are now raising money to send the kid, so I'm sure she'll get to go, whatever, but the Make-A-Wish people won't get to. What a jerk. The thing is, it does point out something that did confuse me. I used to think that Make-A-Wish, didn't you, just by virtue of the fact of the way they advertised what they did, didn't you think that you had to be dying? I always thought that. You had to be dying. And then it became clear you didn't have to be dying. They were getting, people were getting these trips who were just, really sick and had been, but might be recovered, whatever. But I had been confused about that initially, and maybe he's got the same confusion going on. At first, when I heard it, I thought, well, maybe this is just a father in denial about how sick his child is and doesn't want to admit that that she has a terminal illness, and by taking a Make-A-Wish trip, you're essentially saying she's a goner, but that's not what happened at all. That a guy who has had no interest in his child all of a sudden pops up and says no. Unbelievable. He's probably about to be run out of town on a rail wherever he is, having misread the public mood. And in this age of social media, I don't know what his name. His name will be Mud. His life, probably, even at some risk. And moving to a just an informational little piece that I wanted to share with you. It also plays into something that is a major complaint in my life, and that is what actually has been called the weaponization of audio. Now, let's return to the movie theater. Have you ever been in a theater when they start up the movie or the sound and it is so loud that it like hurts or is certainly uncomfortable? Yeah? Oh yeah, I have. And I'm thinking, God, turn it down. What are you doing? Well, the New York Times did a very big investigation going with, these decibel meter readers all over Manhattan and going into restaurants and going into nightclubs and bars and checking the sound levels. Excuse me. Oh, Jess, my cough meter, my... Okay, thank you very much. See, I used to have a little cough button here. I should have that. Anyway, so how many times have you gone to a restaurant and not been able to hear what the person sitting maybe across the table from you is saying? Now, maybe this is an old person's complaint because our ears just maybe aren't as good as they used to be. But anytime you are dining with older people, it is not unusual that if you go to a restaurant, you know that they cannot hear a damn thing that's being said. It's not just the chatter of all the voices. It's the fact that these restaurants put no acoustic stuff at all in them anymore. And as the report finds out, that's the way they want it. They want it noisy. Because noise, nothing is done without a reason. Noise turns the tables over faster. You also, noise and music with a faster beat makes people eat faster, makes people drink more. There have been studies done. They'll sell more liquor and they'll get you out faster so they can turn the table. Retail stores increasingly are playing music loudly when you walk in, especially stores that want young people in them and don't want old people. I give you Abercrombie and Fitch. When you go into Abercrombie and Fitch, you got noise. There is loud music playing. Old people can stand it for about a second or two and they're out the door, which Abercrombie loves. It's exactly what they want. Meanwhile, the clerks who work there are leaving at the end of the day with throbbing headaches and at the decibel levels that have been recorded, if they happen to stay in that job for 10, 15 years, with hearing loss. So workers who work in these restaurants and in these bars where the decibel levels are flirting around the 90 decibel range, which is not apparently unusual, are literally having their hearing impaired because they're in it all the time. You can only take it for a little bit. Young people revel in it. It excites them. And as you know, they have spent their young lives with plugs in their ears, piping way too loud music into them anyway, so they're half deaf at the age of 25. And you have to keep ratcheting the sound up because it doesn't sound as loud as it used to because they're damaging their ears. This is absolutely known. One of the biggest complaints that consumers have about restaurants now, noise. The inability to speak in a normal conversation with people. And restaurateurs are aware of it. They don't care. They don't care. As I said, you drink more, and you leave faster. And that's what they've got in mind. Hearing experts say ears never sort of get attuned to loudness. Your ears don't somehow become more tolerant of loudness. So if you have to raise your voice so that somebody 3 feet away can be heard, the noise level is dangerous. And repeated exposure to loud noise, again, this is known, not only damages hearing, it's linked to higher levels of stress, of higher blood pressure, and heart disease. You ever go to a spin class? Some of the noise at a spin class with the music is up to 100 decibels, which is truly dangerous. I don't know what happened to the rest of this thing that I had here. But the loudness with which we have to deal at the movies, at restaurants, in all kinds of entertainment venues. Again, I mean, it's against, by the way, OSHA requirements. And OSHA is not known as an agency that goes after sound level stuff much. But I guess if it's anything over 85 decibels, workers have to be are supposed to wear earplugs. Well, is your bartender or waiter, you see them wearing earplugs? I mean, if you go into a Hard Rock cafe, which is also meant to be loud, and Hard Rock is one of the places that figured out that if the beat of the music is fast, that people drink more and leave faster, that they actually have programmed the music so that in the earlier part of the day, the beat is a little slower. They let people linger. They know people aren't going to drink as much. As you start nearing 4 p.m., when some people might decide it's a good time to start a happy hour and maybe get going a little earlier than the crowd, the tempo, literally, in a Hard Rock cafe is consciously put up, and the noise level put up, and consequently, more alcohol is sold, and more people, without realizing they're being manipulated like this. This is the thing I hate about it. How, you're being manipulated and you're totally unconscious of it. You don't know you're eating a little faster than you normally would. You don't know you maybe wouldn't have had that other drink. It's the level of stress that creates more drinking, faster drinking. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. I hate it. What part of our reality are we not just pawns in? I wonder. We like to think of ourselves as such, sort of independent operators. But we're being played all the time. You're watching TV, you're being played. You're being played through product placements in the program itself. You're being played, obviously, during commercial breaks. Same on the radio. I mean, we live in a totally commercialized culture, and nothing happens per chance. The displays at your drugstore, the displays at the checkout counter, all of these things, the placement of the cereal and what level, all these things have been studied and restudied with one end in mind: getting your money. Getting your money. And so all of this research, the louder noises, the this and the that, are all about unconsciously getting into your head, so that they can have you consciously remove your wallet and buy more. They have found at Abercrombie & Fitch and H&M and all those other stores that cater to young people that the louder the music, the longer kids will stay in the store. It's also known that the longer kids stay in the store, the more they buy. They've also found that since parents find the store so awful, so loud, that it's not unusual for a parent to simply hand a kid a credit card and say, go on in, just get it done, I'm staying out here. Oh, Lordy. So there you have it. Just so you know, I think the more we are conscious of getting manipulated all the time, the greater chance you have of perhaps resistance. And I'm all for resistance, for constant resistance, for media literacy of all kinds. And even I don't, as much as I've been immersed in media as long as I have, even I am astonished sometimes when I hear the level at which retailers now are targeting us in these subliminal ways that we just don't. Does this mean when you go to college now and you get a psychology degree that these are where the jobs are? Is that where psychologists end up working mostly? Where they do these kinds of studies, where they figure out how to, I mean, when you get into advertising, how many people actually write clever copy and how many people are there to determine how to hook you? And that would seem to be a psychologist kind of person. So marketing majors must have to do a lot of psychology. And then even things like crowd control. How do people move when they walk into a store? Do most people tend to walk to the right or do they walk to the left? Do they move straight ahead? Where would you best put that to immediately draw their attention? At what point are they? I mean, I am telling you, if you think that the way you meander through a grocery store or any shop, especially if it's a big chain who has the capacity to do this kind of research, if you think it is somehow something creative that happens, it's creative. It's creative in a totally mercenary manner, figuring out how to get you to buy. What somebody tweeted the other day, Target, the store you go to and buy all kinds of things that you never went in to get. Mm-hmm. So I think that absolutely shows that Target is right on target. They obviously are brilliant about putting things out there that you weren't there to get that stupid placemat. You were, all of a sudden you're drawn to placemats. I wasn't here. I was here to get cat food. All of a sudden you're buying bowls or an area rug. Gotta have this and you gotta have that. You see all of a sudden a kind of shampoo and it's on special. Well, it is true that of all the stores I can think of where you really get distracted, Target is way up there as one of the more ingenious, I believe. Checking up on email quickly, Dave writes, events like this latest massacre, events like this don't even faze me anymore. If you're a good American, Dave, I know we wake up. You know what? They were saying initially 14 dead. I thought, this is how cynical I am. 14. Well, that's high enough that this will have some play. Then I saw it got down, pushed down to, only 12 dead. And you think somewhere in producers' heads, even though they don't say it to themselves, shit, only 12. So all of a sudden, it's not quite as good a story. It's not you know, when there's a shooting now, if the death toll doesn't rise, these random things where people walk into businesses and, you know, blow 3 or 4 people away, they barely get covered anymore. Barely. You gotta have double digits. You gotta have an understory. You gotta have like premiere of The Dark Knight Rises. Not the Dark Knight Rises. You gotta. So anyway, Dave, completely get it. He says these events don't faze him. This has been part of Americana for a generation now. Pardon my callousness. I gotcha, but as long as it doesn't happen to me, I'll let the wackos swim in their river of blood, fully confident that I'm not to blame. I'm not one of them. But for God's sake, don't legalize medical marijuana for cancer patients, because don't you know how dangerous that stuff is? Yeah, we're screwy. We are one screwy bunch. I don't think screwy is a strong enough word. I hear you. Yeah. This one rises to a level where, it'll be breathless lead story unless something even more bloody might happen between now and the 6 o'clock news. All right, guys, sorry to end on that somewhat depressing note, but we deal in reality here. Enjoy your weekend, and I shall return on Monday, I promise. We'll do a regular week. So, toodaloo.
Lynn Cullen Live, Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and archived at pghcitypaper.com. The opinions expressed on Lynn Cullen Live are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the viewpoints of Pittsburgh City Paper, Steel City Media, and its advertisers.